What if I told you that in just 30 days or even intentional 10 minutes, you could completely shift who you are? Fully shift into a version of you who walks differently, talks differently, thinks differently, and gets radically different results in her life. Welcome back to the Aligned in Action podcast. Today's episode is your invitation to run an experiment with your identity, to embody the future version of you before she fully exists in the physical world, and to prove to yourself that it works. Here's what we're diving into today. We're diving into why treating your personal growth like an experiment is one of the most powerful identity shifting tools out there. I'm also going to be telling you about the behind the scenes of the 30-day experiment I am running this April and how I'm using it to elevate into the next version of myself and my business. And I'm also going to be telling you how you can create your own version of this experiment. And finally, how you can also join me for a completely free workshop where I'll guide you deeper into this work and help you make it real in your own life. So, if you're done thinking about becoming your next level self and you're ready to live her, this episode is for you. So, let me take you behind the scenes of something I'm doing this month that's really exciting and really powerful. My own 30-day identity and manifestation experiment. Now, if you've been in my world for a while, you know I am big on embodiment. I don't just teach mindset or manifestation or fitness, I live it. But this month feels different. I am shifting into a new season. I'm about to launch something that's going to completely upgrade the way I serve my clients and the way I show up in my business. And this has made me realize that I cannot lead this next chapter from the mindset or energy of the woman I was 3 months ago or even 3 weeks ago. So instead of preparing for this next level, I have made the decision to radically commit to becoming her now, to live as if it's already done, to show up in full energetic congruence, to collapse the timeline between me and the results that I desire. And so I have decided to run my own 30-day manifestation and identity experiment. The reason I call this an experiment is because I want to completely release the pressure. I am, by the way, a non specific manifester. This is a whole different story that I will go into later. But basically, as a non specific manifester, it's really important to not get too hung up on the detail and really just be playful with it. And I honestly just want to treat this whole thing like a game. So instead of putting so much pressure on myself to achieve the results that I want, I choose to treat this like let's see what can happen when I fully commit to specific manifestation and identity embodiment practices for 30 days, like non-negotiable. Literally treating this like something fun, exciting, like intriguing even. Almost looking at it from the outside as just something I am curious about. This is, in my opinion, a really powerful tool to approach any transformation or anything you are trying to create and manifest. Not from pressure, but from this curious place of just like, let's see what happens if I give this my all. And also, what's the worst that could happen? Like, literally, the worst thing that could happen is staying where I am now. So I have got nothing to lose. I have only got things to gain. And that's why I just like to look at it as this little game, little experiment. Let's see what happens. I have chosen 30 days for this, both because I have a launch at the end of April, but also because this feels doable and exciting to me. We will dive deeper later into how long you should experiment for if you do choose to do this experiment. But before that, I want to share with you what I am doing this month and why every single one of these practices is key to shifting your energy and your identity. So, first of all, I have had to get clear on what it is I want to manifest and who is the person I want to be by the end of this month. As I am recording this, it is the 3rd of April, and honestly, I already feel like a different person than I was at the end of March. I did struggle with getting clear for the last couple of days, to be honest. And again, this goes back to being a specific versus non-specific manifester. So this is something that you can figure out based on your human design. If you search this up online, you can figure out if you're a specific or non-specific manifester. As a non-specific manifester, I am not meant to get super detailed and, focus on the nitty gritty. I am meant to focus more on the feeling. And I tend to forget this, even though I have been into human design for a while and I'm actually taking a human design certification course as we speak. But the way we get taught manifestation and creation, it's usually about getting very, very, very detailed. And while I do, when I visualize my next level self, I do see what she wears and how she acts and how she carries herself. Certain things are just a bit too detailed for me, and for me, that just creates a lot of pressure. So, as a non-specific manifester, I need to get clear on the feeling that I want to have by the end of the month rather than specific metrics or numbers. So, I can do a whole episode on specific versus non-specific manifestors. If that's something that you find interesting, let me know. But, again, this was just a bit of a tangent, but getting back, this was the first thing that I did, just getting clear on what I want to feel and who I want to be by the end of this month. This is super, super important. If you do all of these practices, but you're not actually clear on what it is you want, it's just not going to happen. You have to be clear. So, okay, now let's dive into the practices that I'm doing throughout the month. So, first of all, fear and negative thought dumping. This was something that I did yesterday, to be honest, on day 2 of this experiment, and honestly, it cleared a ton of mental clutter for me. I sat down and wrote out every single fear, doubt, or limiting belief, limiting story that could potentially come up for me this month about that next level version of myself that I just got clear on. Like different things about my launch, for example. What if the launch flops? What if people just don't get what I'm doing? What if I'm not ready for this new level? So many different thoughts, so many different doubts, and all of this went on paper. The reason this practice works is that thoughts floating in your head can feel really massive. When you write them down, however, you do shrink them. You create separation between you and them, and that creates clarity. You also stop pretending that they're not there. Because manifestation, creation, identity, embodiment isn't about bypassing your fear. It's about witnessing the fear and choosing not to feed it. So once I had everything down yesterday, I felt lighter. I have it as a note on my notes app on my phone so that every time a thought like this arises throughout the month, I can write it down, I can observe it, I can break it down, I can find evidence for why this is not true. And this takes me to the second step, which is reclaiming my power. Next to each fear, I asked and will continue to ask throughout the month, is this within my control or out of my control? Then, yesterday, based on what was in my control, I made a list of 10 aligned actions I can take that are fully in my control. Now, not, hustly, reactive actions that come from pressure, but really grounded next level actions that will get me to where I want to go. Things like streamlining parts of my launch, clarifying my messaging, creating new offers, connecting with people, revisiting my goals and my intentions. And the reason this works is that it gets you out of passive mode. You go from what if this doesn't work to here's what I can do to support the outcome that I desire. This one practice alone can shift your energy from fear to power and control in minutes, and it gets you back in the driver's seat. Now, let's talk about the other practices that I am doing this month every single day. So, one practice I'm going to do every single day is daily visualization. When I visualize, I see the version of me who has already stepped into the business, the body, the lifestyle, the confidence that I am calling in. Now, you can do this in different ways, and visualization is something that I do practice often. But as I said, this month I'm experimenting with doing this every single day and seeing what happens by the end of the month. So, the way I do visualization is either I will play a visualization meditation, which you can find so many of them I'm sure on YouTube. I am subscribed to an app which is paid, but I'm sure you can find so many visualization meditations for free on YouTube. But another thing that I have done in the past when I manifested specifically my PhD scholarship is every single day I am very much like an author. I love writing. So I would write in my journal, kind of write and visualize at the same time what I'm doing as my next level self. So back then it was me as having the PhD scholarship. Now it is me as the way I want to feel by the end of this month. So, what time does she wake up? What kind of environment is she in? How does she speak to herself and to others? What is she excited about? What kind of messages are in her inbox? What kind of emails are waiting for her? What kind of energy does she bring into her work, her family life, her clients, her social media? And this level of detailed visualization is really powerful for a few reasons. First of all, it reprograms your subconscious mind. Your brain doesn't fully differentiate between real experience and vividly imagined experience. I'm pretty sure I talked about it in the third episode of this podcast when I talked about quantum leaping. So, when you visualize the future version of you in detail, especially when paired with emotion, truly feeling like you are there, getting excited, like finding yourself screaming out loud out of excitement, feeling like you are there, you are literally rehearsing it neurologically and reprogramming your subconscious mind. Now, I want to get clear. When I say get super detailed, and this is where people kind of get tripped up between specific and non-specific manifestors, I do not mean necessarily getting clear on the exact number that you're seeing in your bank account or the exact shoes that you are wearing. If that works for you, great. But in general, it's just about how you feel. What kind of thoughts run through your head? The excitement. What I remember from manifesting my PhD scholarship is every single day getting so excited, picturing me getting the email telling me that I got the scholarship, picturing myself calling my husband, my grandparents, my friends telling them that I got it. So that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be super, super nitty gritty if you are a non specific manifester or if that doesn't feel right to you. It does mean getting very, very clear and detailed on the feelings and how you want to experience your everyday. So, as I said, it reprograms your subconscious mind and it shifts your identity, right? You stop identifying as someone who's trying to succeed and you start moving like someone who already is successful. And that change in identity affects your decisions, your posture, your creativity, and even how people respond to you. And that's why during this month, I am doing this every single day, not just every few days, not just once a week, every single day. Because when you do this visualization work every single day, it gets much easier to act like her, like that next level version of yourself throughout the day as well. And doing this also activates your reticular activating system, your RAS. And that's the part of your brain that begins to filter in what's relevant to you. When you prime your mind with the vision that you are attracting, you start noticing synchronicities, aligned opportunities, and pathways that were always there. You just couldn't see them before. This is also why I practice clocking micro moments every single day and do this work with my clients too. This is massive for activating your reticular activating system and starting to filter in evidence that you are that person, that the thing that you're manifesting already is in your reality. So, all of these reasons is why visualization is not just a nice to have and it's not just fluff. It's a neurological and energetic training tool that helps you become her before she's even real in the 3D world. And then we have grounding and nervous system regulation, which I'm also doing as a daily practice. And this might sound simple, but I cannot emphasize this enough. The version of you who holds big success is grounded, calm, regulated. The reason this is so important is that when we grow, our nervous system interprets change, even positive change, as a potential danger. And when that happens, we go into fight or flight. We can sabotage, we overthink, we start doubting our path, our decisions. And grounding reminds your body that you are safe. It resets your cortisol levels, it increases clarity, and it helps you receive guidance, ideas, and intuitive nudges that don't come through when you're in a rush or on high alert. If you're constantly anxious, overstimulated, overactivated, just feeling off, I want you to start here. Success needs a regulated container to land in. So for me, this takes on different forms throughout this month. So, first of all, I start each day with energy clearing and energy healing work. This is work I have been learning as part of my advanced intuition course, where daily I claim back my energy from other people, from my environment, and I also release energy and thoughts that I carry that aren't my own. I release them back to the universe and back to the people that I got them from. Now, this is advanced work and very spiritual, so not everyone can connect to it, and that is okay. But there are plenty of ways you could still ground yourself and regulate your nervous system. For example, another thing that I do often is go to the sauna after a gym session. Yeah, as simple as that. The sauna detoxifies your body, aka gets rid of toxins, and it helps you ground yourself. Another option is what we call earthing, which is literally walking and standing on the earth, on grass, barefoot. And there's a whole explanation for why this works, which I won't get into now. Again, if you would like to hear more about it, I'm more than happy to do a podcast about it in the future. Just like DM me, send me a message. I'd love to hear it. But this is something I am actually planning to do daily too when I am in Cyprus. So next week, we are flying the whole family to Cyprus. When I'm there, obviously now in the UK, weather is not good enough. Hopefully in Cyprus, it will be good enough to the point that I can walk barefoot outside, and I cannot wait. If you live somewhere where the weather is good, the weather is warm, honestly, I cannot recommend this enough. Just go out barefoot, walk on some grass. Another option is just to go out to nature. Experience, stillness, be present. Go on a walk with no podcasts, right? Just listen to your thoughts, listen to the birds chirping. And if you want to stay home, you can even practice something like breath work, box breathing, meditations. There's so many different ways you can just ground your energy. Pick what resonates with you and what you believe you will be able to stick to. If you do a 30-day experiment, though, I do recommend picking a practice that you can do daily. Now, the next thing that I do throughout this month is listening to subliminals and quantum jumping. This is the part that gets a little more quantum, but it's such a powerful layer of this experiment. So let's start with subliminals. These are audio tracks with affirmations embedded below the level of conscious hearing. So you don't actually hear the affirmations, you just hear nice music, but your subconscious picks those affirmations up, even though you don't consciously hear them. I listen to subliminals while walking, working, while I'm at the gym, or when I sleep. I pick every single day, but I do listen to one every single day. And the ones that I choose are aligned to specific beliefs that I'm shifting, like self worth, abundance, higher timeline, magnetism. I'm going to just shift around between them just to make sure I get a bit of each throughout the month. So, the reason this works is that your subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of your thoughts, actions, and patterns. It runs the show, literally. And often the blocks we experience in life come not from our conscious desire to succeed, but from our subconscious belief that success isn't safe or isn't available to us. So, subliminals work by bypassing resistance in your subconscious mind. You're not sitting there trying to convince yourself, you're letting the new belief sink in silently, daily, and over time. So, this way, we cover the 95% that's your subconscious mind, and we have also covered your 5% in dumping your fears on paper and arguing for why they are not true, finding evidence for why they are not true. Now we have quantum jumps. So this is something that I do 2 to 3 times per week. And it is a form of deep visualization. So when I do quantum jumps, I don't do visualization on the day, but it's more than just visualization. Instead of imagining a future version of you and visualizing her, you actually step into her energetically. You basically cross over to a timeline where she already exists, and you begin to feel what it's like to be her right now. You feel how she speaks, how she walks, what she believes, what decisions she's making, how she's making them. Quantum jumping literally changes your energetic frequency. It helps you embody a different vibration, which attracts completely different opportunities. The reason I don't do it every day is because honestly, it's quite exhausting. It requires a lot from your energy, like physical, mental, emotional. So, doing it 2 to 3 times per week is enough, and you literally feel the shift straight away when you do it. And finally, the last practice is gratitude every single day. So I end every day with a few minutes of intentional gratitude. And I'm not just listing what I'm grateful for now, I'm giving thanks for everything that's on its way too. So what I do is I either just think about it or sometimes just text my friend who I'm doing this experiment with. I'll talk more about it at the end, but at the end of the day, I think or write things like, thank you for the women who are already aligned with my next offer. Thank you for the energy I felt in my body today. Thank you for the clarity and support that always shows up at the right moment. And thank you that I'm already feeling so much closer to this next level version of myself than I did yesterday. The reason it works is that gratitude puts you into a receiving state. It tells your subconscious mind, I already have enough. I am already whole and I trust what's coming. And this vibration of abundance and gratitude is magnetic. The more grateful you are now, the faster you align with the next level version of yourself. And it also makes this process honestly beautiful. It reminds you that this whole thing, this whole experiment, isn't about waiting for the big result, it's about becoming her and enjoying it as you go. So, this is my process for the month of April. If you want to join me, please feel free. Let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram or a comment on YouTube. I'd love to hear this so much and keep you accountable as well throughout the month. Like, I would love to hear if any of you are doing this as well. So, let's talk about how you can design your own identity experiment. And I want you to really lean in here because this is where it becomes yours. You don't need to follow my exact practices. You don't need to do everything perfectly, but what you do need is intention, structure, and energy that matches your next level. Let's walk through a few options, starting from the shortest, most immediate version and moving towards longer term experiments and transformations. So, the first thing you can do is literally a 1 minute, 5 minute, 10-minute experiment. This is the in the moment shift, a mini reset that you can literally do anytime. If you have 20 seconds, do it in 20 seconds. It's not really about building a new identity over time, but about accessing your future self right now when you really need her. And this is perfect for moments like before a job interview or an important meeting, when you're about to record content or go live, before asking for a raise or pitching an offer, or really anytime you feel nervous, uncertain, out of control, or disconnected from your power. So, the way you can do it is close your eyes and ask, who do I want to be in this moment? Visualize your highest self, how she enters this situation. Breathe into her energy. Anchor it in your body. You can use posture, music, movement, scent, whatever helps you feel like her. We dive deeper into anchors actually in this exciting thing I am launching at the end of the month. But Sherry, don't talk about it too much yet. But anchors are huge for shifting your energy in an instant. And then act from that space, even if it's just for 20 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The reason this is so powerful is this helps you create energetic reference points. The more often you access her energy, even briefly, the easier it becomes to default to that version of you. And also, honestly, it can shift the situation that you're in an instant. When you shift to becoming her, even if it's just 20 seconds of anchoring, you suddenly feel braver, calmer, sharper, more magnetic, and you become her. You remind yourself of who you actually are when the noise falls away. The next level of experiment you can do is something like a 30-day experiment, like what I'm doing now. And this is the perfect container for testing a new identity. It's long enough to create traction, but short enough to feel doable. It's ideal when you feel stuck and want to break through a plateau, when you're about to launch something or start something new, and when you're ready to try embodying your next level self without overcommitting, without scaring yourself. The way you can structure it is choose 3 to 6, I would say, embodiment practices that you will commit to daily or weekly. Do the practices that I told you I'm doing. We do need to be committed here to really see results in 30 days. Okay. So, whatever practices you commit to, make sure that you are fully committed to them. Then define your outcome. Who do I want to be 30 days from now? I want you to write out a clear version of her. How she thinks, how she moves, how she decides. If you're a specific manifester, you can also get very detailed about the specific things that you want to manifest, whether that is money, specific number that you want to see on the scale, whatever that is. And at the end of the month, I want you to reflect what has shifted, what felt powerful, what do I want to carry forward. This container is perfect for proof building. You're not trying to change your entire life in 30 days. You are proving to your subconscious mind, though, that you can live this way. And that belief alone lays the foundation for lasting transformation. And the next level up is anything longer than that, really. A 3 month experiment, 6 months, 1 year, whatever works for you. And that's when we're getting into integration. This type of experiment is ideal when you're stepping into a new season. Maybe entrepreneurship, motherhood, or a health transformation. you're working towards a bold external result and an internal shift. And you're done with quick fixes and want to lock in a new baseline for how you operate. The way to approach it is we want to build rituals, habits, and identity anchors that support your future self every single day and every single week. We want to include emotional, physical, and environmental work. So, mindset, body, boundaries, space, relationship, everything around that. We want to choose 1 to 2 identity traits to center each month or every 2 months. Like, for example, this month I become magnetic, or this month I operate from trust. And we want to have regular check ins. I would ask yourself every single day, am I acting for my current identity or my future one? And maybe have a check in with yourself or with a partner or with a coach, whoever it is that's supporting you, once a week, saying what's working, what's not working, and where we might want to change things. And we should expect resistance and learn to move through it as part of this experiment. It is important to remind you here that this experiment is an experiment for a reason. You can't expect it to work if you don't do the work, right? The level of work you do will equal exactly to the level of results that you get. So do not give up midway. It's so important to keep going, even when it's tough. And this is the phase where you start replacing old identities. It's not just accessing her anymore, it's building her into your foundation. And the more you embody her, the more your external world reshapes itself to match. So now I do have some tips for you for any time frame before we finish. No matter the time frame you choose, keep these guiding principles in mind. First of all, we want to define her clearly. Your next level self isn't a Pinterest board, okay? She's you, embodied more deeply. How does she think? How does she respond to stress? What standards does she hold? This is super important. We also want to keep your practices simple but energetic. If it feels like a chore, you'll drop it, okay? If it activates you, you will return to it. Choose a mix of mindset, embodiment, and nervous system regulation practices that feel good to you. We also want you to track what you feel, not just what you achieve. So this isn't just about business wins or body changes or whatever it is you choose to create and manifest in your life. It's about what shifts in your inner world because that's what sustains the outer results. We also want to be willing to adjust. This is an experiment, not a punishment. If something isn't working, change it. The commitment is to your growth and not a rigid checklist. Then I want you to declare it. Give your experiment a name, a title, a vibe, whatever it is you want. You could call it Becoming Her. Call it the Unstoppable Season. This gives your brain a container, and your subconscious loves structure and a story. So decide what you're naming it and go with it and talk about it to yourself every single day. And finally, another tip is get an accountability partner. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a friend that we are doing this 30-day experiment together. So this was my idea. I pitched it to her and she was on board. So we are keeping each other accountable every day, sending each other our gratitude lists at the end of the day, telling each other what we did today. Did we do a quantum jump? Did we visualize? Did we listen to a subliminal? Whatever it is. When you have an accountability partner, this experiment just becomes so much more real, so much more exciting, and easier to stick to. Or if you really want to go to the next level, hire me. I'll guide you through this. I'll keep you accountable. And obviously, we do so much more inside of my coaching, like subconscious reprogramming, identity work, breaking through limiting beliefs, aligned action taking, refining your intuition, and building customized fitness and nutrition routines that energize you. So if you're feeling cold, hit the link in the description box. But let this episode be your invitation. Whether you have 10 minutes or a whole year, you can shift who you are, how you show up, and what you receive. And once you experience even one powerful identity experiment, you'll never go back to waiting for the right time again. If this episode activated something in you, if you're ready to run your own identity experiment, even if you start with just 10 minutes today, then I want you to come to my free masterclass, which is all about rewiring and upgrading your identity. This free masterclass workshop, whatever you want to call it, is where I'll guide you through everything we talked about, but deeper. You will learn how to shift your self image on a subconscious level, how to align your nervous system to actually hold the life that you're creating, and how to stop waiting for confidence, permission, or the right time by becoming the woman who already has it. It's free, it's powerful, and it's your first energetic step into the version of you you are meant to become. Head to the link in the show notes or in the description box and reserve your spot. And until next time, please stay aligned, take action, and treat your life like the most powerful experiment you will ever run. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.